I died on a rainy Tuesday in Seattle, choking on my own blood as the semi-truck's grill crumpled my windshield like tissue paper. Betrayed. Broken. And broke. Fired from Apex Innovations for cutting duplicates. Whatever the hell that corporate euphemism meant. I'd been driving home from a dive bar, drowning the sting of unemployment in cheap whiskey. The last thing I saw was my reflection in the shattered glass. Addison Hale, 32. A nobody who'd trusted the wrong people. Then nothing. Black. Gone. But death isn't the end. It's just the universe's sick joke on the gullible. I woke up gasping, not in some ethereal void, but in my old queen-sized bed in my cramped Belltown apartment. The sheets tangled around legs that felt too young, too alive. My alarm blared, 6:45 a.m., March 15th, 2023, the day before the layoffs hit. I bolted upright, heart hammering like a jackrabbit on meth, staring at hands that hadn't yet earned the calluses from frantic job hunts. Mirror check, same face, but smoother, unscarred by the grief lines that would etch in later. I'd done it. Reborn.
重生.
As my Vietnamese grandma would have whispered in her ghost stories. Second chance. And this time, I wasn't playing nice. The hook lodged in my throat wasn't from the crash anymore. It was the memory of Elena's smile as she handed me the pink slip. My best friend at Apex. Or so I'd thought. Brunette Bob. Killer sales pitch. The kind of woman who could charm a boardroom or a barfly. It's just business. Addie, she'd cooed, her manicured nails tapping the termination letter like it was a cocktail menu. Business. Yeah.
Right.
I'd built that algorithm from scratch. The one that streamlined Apex's cloud analytics and saved them millions. But when the SEC started sniffing around for insider trading, whispers of rig stock tips funneled through back channels. Guess who got scapegoated? The mid-level coder with no connections.
Me.
I stumbled to the kitchenette, brewing coffee with hands that shook like I'd mainlined espresso. The apartment smelled of stale takeout and unfulfilled dreams. Same as always.
But now
I had the playbook. In my first life, I'd crumbled, lawyered up too late, leaked docs to a blogger who ghosted me, ended up blackballed from every tech gig west of the Mississippi. Elena? She got promoted. And Victor Lang, our Golden Boy CEO? He cashed out his options for 9 figures while the company tanked under lawsuits. Victor, with his TED Talk charisma and veneers whiter than his conscience, who'd patted my shoulder at the holiday party like a benevolent uncle. Your family here, Addison. Family. The kind that slits your throat in the boardroom. By 7:30, I was dressed, tailored black pantsuit, the one I'd splurged on for my big break interview 2 years prior. Hair in a no-nonsense ponytail. Lipstick the color of fresh blood. No more frumpy hoodies and optimism. This Addison Hale was a ghost with a grudge. I grabbed my laptop, fingers flying over keys as I pulled up the Apex internet, still had access. Thank God for bureaucratic lag. There it was, the duplicate accounts report I'd flagged months ago. Not redundancies in staff, but ghost profiles in the system, siphoning data to offshore servers. Insider trading. Plain as day. In my old timeline, I'd buried it to protect the team. Loyalty. What a joke. The commute to Apex's gleaming waterfront tower was a blur of gray skies and honking Ubers. Seattle's tech bubble pulsed around me, baristas slinging lattes to venture capitalists, billboards hawking the next unicorn startup. I gripped the steering wheel, rehearsing lines that tasted like arsenic. No begging. No tears. Just truth. Served cold. HR's waiting room was a sterile purgatory of motivational posters. Disrupt or be disrupted. I signed in, flashing my badge like it was a loaded gun. Elena spotted me from her glass-walled office, waving with that megawatt grin.
Addie.
Early bird? Coffee run before the all-hands. Her voice lilted, all Valley Girl inflection masking the viper beneath. Actually, Elena, I said, stepping inside without invitation. I need to talk to Victor.
Now.
Her brows arched, perfect as arches in a cathedral of lies. Okay, everything all right? You look intense. Intense.
Try possessed.
Just tell him it's about the duplicates. He'll know. She hesitated, then buzzed the exec suite. 5 minutes later, I was in the lion's den, Victor's corner office. Floor-to-ceiling views of Puget Sound churning like my gut. He lounged behind a walnut desk the size of a small yacht. Tie loosened. Sleeves rolled up, casual power play. Addison, to what do I owe the pleasure? Elena said something about duplicates. I didn't sit. Didn't smile. The ghost accounts. Victor. The ones pinging Cayman Islands IPs every night. I've got the logs. And I know who's authorizing the transfers. His laugh was a bark. Genuine at first, then edged with something sharper. Come on,
Kid.
that's just system noise. We're auditing it. What's this really about? Performance review jitters?
Kid.
I'd coated his empire's backbone while he golfed with senators. In my first life, that word had stung. Now it fueled the fire. I slid my laptop across the desk. Screen glowing with exported data trails, irrefutable. Time-stamped proof of embezzled trades worth $50 million. This isn't noise. It's theft. And if the SEC gets wind before your audit wraps, Apex is toast. But hey, you've got that golden parachute.
Right?
9 figures to sit my ties in Monaco. Victor's face didn't crack, but his eyes did flicker of calculation, like a poker player spotting a bluff that wasn't one. Bold accusations. Addison, you got a death wish? Or just angling for a raise? Neither. I leaned in, voice low, laced with the venom of 2 lifetimes. I'm angling for justice. Fire me if you want, call it duplicates, redundancy, whatever suits your narrative. But leak this to the feds, and your little club's over. Elena's in on it too. Isn't she? The sales leads she funneled your way? Cozy. He steepled his fingers. The room thickening with unspoken threats. Rain lashed the windows. A dramatic underscore to the standoff. You think you're clever. Hale, this company's my baby. You? Replaceable. Walk away now. And maybe I put in a good word somewhere. Push this, and you'll wish that truck had finished the job. The truck. He knew.
How?
A chill snaked down my spine. Had my death been no accident? In the fog of grief, I'd chalked it up to bad luck.
But now.
Tampering? Brake lines? The possibility ignited something primal. Try me.
Victor.
But remember, ghosts don't bleed. I snatched my laptop and strode out, pulse thundering. Elena called after me.
Addie.
Wait. But I didn't. Elevator down. Lobby out. Into the drizzle that soaked my suit like baptismal waters. Phase 1. Rattle the cage.
Now.
The hunt. Back home. I barricaded the door and cracked a bottle of Pinot, celebratory. Or stress relief. Who cared? My phone buzzed. Missed calls from Elena. A terse email from Victor's assistant scheduling an urgent meeting for tomorrow.
Good.
Let them squirm. Digging deeper. I cross-referenced the logs with public filings. Apex's stock had spiked 40% last quarter on innovative projections I'd crunched, but twisted by Victor's cronies to mask the fraud. Elena's husband? A junior SEC analyst. The pieces slotted, pillow talk turned profit. My bestie had sold me out for a slice of the pie, framing me as the sloppy coder who'd overlooked the anomalies. In my old life, I'd confronted her post-layoff. Drunk and desperate, she'd feigned shock, then ghosted. Now, I'd make her choke on it. By midnight, I'd drafted an anonymous tip to the Wall Street Journal, watermarked PDFs, encrypted send. But that was child's play. Real revenge? Economic warfare. Apex thrived on proprietary AI. Mine was the crown jewel. What if I repurposed it, forked the code, open-sourced a sanitized version, let competitors feast? Controversial? Hell yes. NDA violations, potential lawsuits. But in a world where CEOs dined on the bones of the little guy, morality was a luxury I couldn't afford. Sleep came fitful. Dreams of twisted metal and Elena's laugh echoing like a dirge. Dawn broke with a vengeance. Meeting time. I slipped a USB into my pocket insurance policy, loaded with everything. The tower loomed, a monolith of glass and greed. As I badged in, security eyed me funny. Victor's doing? Paranoia prickled. But I shoved it down. This was my timeline now. And payback? It was just getting started. The conference room on the 42nd floor felt like a pressure cooker. Air thick with the scent of fresh brewed Kona and barely veiled hostility. Victor presided at the head of the obsidian table, flanked by Elena and a stone-faced legal eagle named Hargrove, 50s. Balding, with eyes like a hawk spotting roadkill. 3 against 1. In my first go-round, I'd have wilted under those stares, stammering excuses. This time, I owned the room, striding in with the USB dangling from my keychain like a noose. Addison, Victor drawled, gesturing to a seat that might as well have been electric. Glad you could make it. Let's clear the air. Air's fine, I replied, perching on the chair's edge. Laptop open and ready. It's the rot underneath that's the problem. Elena shifted, her silk blouse whispering against the leather.
Addie.
Honey, you're scaring me. What's this about? We can fix whatever. Team building retreat? Therapy stipend. Therapy.
Cute.
The woman who'd toasted my demise with champagne at the after-party. I ignored her, locking eyes with Victor. Fix? Like how you fix the Q4 reports, or the accidental server wipe that buried my audit trail. Hargrove cleared his throat, sliding a non-disclosure across the table, thicker than a phone book. MS. Hail. These allegations are serious. Slanderous. Even. Sign this, and we discuss severance. Walk away with dignity.
Dignity.
The word hung like smoke from a back alley deal. Severance for silence?
Pass.
I've already sent copies to a friend at ProPublica. By lunch, your house of cards is front-page news. Victor's jaw tightened, a vein pulsing at his temple like a tell in 5-card stud. Blackmail. Addison? That's federal time. You sure you want to play that hand? Not blackmail. Leverage. I plugged in the USB. projecting the data cascade onto the smartboard, IP trails glowing like veins of fool's gold, transaction logs timestamped to Elena's login. Her gasp was theatrical, hand fluttering to her chest. Me? Addie? That's impossible. I'd never. Save it. My voice sliced through, steady as Seattle fog. Your hubby at the SEC? Ring any bells? Anonymous tips that cleared Apex trades just in time for the pump. Cozy setup. Romantic. Even. Elena's facade cracked, color draining to ash.
You bitch.
You think you can waltz in here with conspiracy theories? I earned my spot. Earned. I laughed, bitter as black coffee. By throwing me under the bus, I covered for you on the beta launch glitch, ate the blame so you could shine. And this is the thanks. Pink slip and a pat on the back. Victor interjected, voice silk over steel. Enough theater. What's your price? Hail? Equity? Corner office? Name it.
Ah.
The offer. In my old life, desperation would have made me bite, settle for crumbs, sign the gag order, slink away to freelance hell. But death clarified things. Money was power, and power was the only revenge that stuck. Not cash.
Control.
I stay on, lead the ethics overhaul. You resign by quarter's end, or the full dossier hits every regulator from here to Langley. The room froze. Hargrove's pen hovering mid-note. Elena's eyes darted like a cornered fox, betrayal's mirror, finally turned on her. Victor leaned back, appraising me anew, as if seeing the ghost I'd become. You're different today. Fired up. Almost. Vengeful. You have no idea. The words carried the weight of crushed metal, phantom pains from a wreck that hadn't happened yet. Or had it? That slip about the truck nod. Had Victor orchestrated it? A quiet word to a mechanic buddy. Brakes sabotaged for the troublesome employee? The thought coiled rage tighter. But I reined it. Patience. Strike too soon, and I'd be the villain. Negotiations dragged, threats veiled as concerns, offers inflated like bad stock. By noon, we'd hashed a truce. I got a promotion to VP of Compliance, Elena a sabbatical, red corner, and Victor a ticking clock. But as I packed my notes, he cornered me by the door, breath hot with mint and malice. This isn't over, Addison. You poke the bear. It bites. Hard. Bring it, I whispered, brushing past. Victory tasted like adrenaline and ash. The afternoon blurred in a haze of back-channel calls, lawyer on speed dial, this timeline's version. Sharper. Hungrier. A burner email to my ProPublica contact confirming receipt. Home by 6. I poured a real drink. Bourbon neat. The kind that burned going down like truth. Scrolling Apex's internal Slack, I caught the ripples, whispers of my stunt, Elena's meltdown in the ladies' room, Victor's closed-door huddles.
Good.
Let the rot surface. But paranoia shadowed the high. A tail on my drive home? Black SUV. Nondescript, could be nothing. Or Victor's muscle flexing. I doubled back through alleys, heart in my throat, arriving to deadbolt the door and triple-check the windows. Sleep evaded. Instead, I plodded deeper. The algorithm, my baby, EtherCore, could predict market shifts with eerie accuracy. In loyal hands, it had revolutionized Apex. In mine, it had dismantled them. Forking the code was the first controversial call. NDA, be damned. I'd anonymize and seed it to GitHub under a pseudonym. Let startups swarm. Erode Apex's edge. Ethical gray, midnight black. But when you've stared down mortality, lines blur. Dawn brought Elena's text. We need to talk.
Coffee?
Old-time sake. Venom and olive branch. I agreed. Neutral ground. Pike Place. Amid the fishmongers and tourists. She arrived flustered. No makeup armor. Looking every bit the backstabber unmasked. Addie.
Please.
Victor's unhinged. He thinks you're out to destroy us. But you and me? We were sisters. Sisters don't sell each other for stock tips. I sipped my Americano. Watching gulls will overhead. Spill. Elena. What's the endgame? Victor's exit strategy? Offshore accounts. Her laugh cracked.
Desperate.
You don't get it. It's bigger than us. The board, they're in deep. Embezzlement's just the tip. Human trials on that neural implant side project? Rushed. Unregulated. Subjects.
Changed.
Not for the better. The bomb dropped casual as confetti. Neural implants, Apex's moonshot. Black budget stuff I'd coded safeguards for. Dismissed as overcautious. Human trials? I'd assumed animal phase. Changed how? Freakouts. Suicides. One guy clawed his eyes out, screaming about ghosts in the wire. She leaned in, voice a hiss. Victor's burying bodies, literal ones. You push too hard. You're next on the list.
Ghosts.
The irony twisted like a knife. My rec replayed in Technicolor. Swerve. Impact. Darkness. Sabotage confirmed. Why tell me now? Because you're the only one crazy enough to stop it. Her eyes pleaded. But trust? Shattered like my old windshield. Was this redemption or deeper ploy? I left her there, mind reeling. The secret she'd unearthed dwarfed the fraud, corporate murder. Sci-fi horror in board shorts. Back at the apartment, I dove into encrypted archives, pulling implant schematics. Flaws galore, feedback loops that hijacked synapses, turning users into puppets. Test subjects? Disappeared whistleblowers. Vagrants paid in cash and forgotten. Apex wasn't innovating, it was weaponizing minds. The decision loomed. Controversial as a live grenade. Expose it all? Torch my career? Maybe my life? Or play along? Burrow deeper. Strike from within? I chose the burrow. Vengeance wasn't a sprint. By nightfall, I'd embedded a backdoor in Ethercore's update. Subtle. A digital tripwire to leak trial data if Victor pulled the trigger on me. Elena's alliance hung tenuous. A thread in the noose. Victor's bear loomed larger. Claws itching. Seattle's nights deepened. Rain a relentless drumbeat. I was in it now, reborn. Relentless. And the cash out? It was coming. Bigger than any of them dreamed. Weeks bled into a high-wire act, balancing Apex's Viper Pit with my Shadow War. VP title came with a corner office, ironic upgrade from the cubicle farm, and a direct line to the board. Victor's leash chafing visibly. He played nice in meetings, all smiles and visionary buzzwords, but his emails dripped passive aggression. Ensure compliance doesn't stifle innovation. Addison. Innovation. Code for bury the bodies deeper. Elena hovered. A ghost of our faux friendship. Lunches where she'd probe for weaknesses. Drop breadcrumbs on the implant horrors. Subject 7? Ex-engineer like you. Walked into traffic after a session. Victor called it coincidence. Her confessions piled like evidence in a cold case. But trust? I'd sooner hug a porcupine. Still, she proved useful. Access to Victor's calendar. Snagged passwords. The petty betrayals of a woman hedging her bets. My days were theater, auditing ledgers by sunlight, hacking by moonlight. The Ethercore fork went live on GitHub, OpenEther, credited to Phantom Coder. Downloads spiked. Reddit threads buzzed. This shit's gonna kill AWS. Apex's stock dipped 5% overnight. Victor's war room erupting in blame games. He cornered me post-earnings call. Door slammed. Face a mask of controlled fury. You're doing hail? That open source crap. Plausible deniability was my shield. Innovation's a two-way street. Victor.
You taught me that.
His laugh was joyless. Hand slamming the desk. First crack in the facade. Careful. Bears bite. Nights. I'd pore over implant files. Stomach churning. Schematics revealed nightmares. Neural aces interfacing with dopamine receptors. Designed for productivity boosts but weaponized for control. Military contracts whispered. DARPA slush funds. Black Ops trials in abandoned warehouses outside Tacoma. Subjects weren't volunteers. They were the desperate, homeless vets. Indebted grads. Funneled through Elena's charity NGOs. One log entry gutted me. SUBJ. 12. Resistance noted. Administer override. Outcome. Catatonic compliance. The moral quagmire deepened. Exposed prematurely. And I'd be discredited. Disgruntled ex-employee smear campaign. Play too long. And more died. Controversial pivot. Selective leaks. I funneled redacted trial vids to a dark web whistleblower forum. Masked as rival corp sabotage. Chaos bloomed. Anonymous posts viraling on 4chan, drawing hacker eyes. Apex's servers buckled under DDoS probes. Victor raging in all hands. Sabotage from within. Rooted out. Elena cracked further. Showing up drunk at my door one stormy Friday, mascara rivers. Bottle of Grey Goose in hand. He's on to us.
Addie.
Hired PIs. Your wreck? Not accident. He paid off the garage. Routine check turned sabotage. Confirmation hit like a freight train. Rage boiling over. I hauled her inside. Pouring shots as she spilled. Victor's empire built on daddy's connections. Old money laundering through tech facades. The implants? Endgame for a surveillance state. Selling enhanced citizens to the highest bidder. We take him down together, she slurred. Gripping my arm. For real this time. Alliance forged in liquor and loathing. We plotted. Embed a virus in the next implant batch, non-lethal. Just data dumps to every news outlet on speed dial. Risky caught. Weed rot in federal pens. But the alternative? Complicity in madness. The high came crashing mid-month. Board meeting. My big reveal. PowerPoint primed with efficiency gaps, laced with fraud Easter eggs. Victor preened. Oblivious. Until slide 15. Blurred implant trial footage. Overlaid with SEC violation timelines. Gasps rippled. His face purpled. What the fuck is this? Addison? Accountability, I said. Voice echoing in the stunned silence. Your house of horrors. Exposed. Resign now. Or I hit send. Pandemonium. Shouts. Hargrove fumbling for injunctions. Elena fainting, dramatically, Oscar bait. Security swarmed. But I was ready, lawyer en route. Live stream button primed. Victor lunged. Fingers grazing my collar. Breath a snarl. You traitorous cunt. I'll bury you. Bury me? I'd already risen. Feds swarmed by dawn, warrants waving like flags at a surrender. Victor cuffed in his penthouse. Elena flipping like a weather vane for immunity.
Me?
Grilled for hours. But my logs held. Whistleblower. Not perpetrator. Temporary leave. With a fat consultant fee pending. Freedom tasted like rain-washed streets, but shadows lingered. Black SUV sightings multiplied. Victor's loyalists? Or paranoia? I relocated to a sublet in Capitol Hill. Burner phones stacked like poker chips. The cash-out brewed. Open ethers buzz drew VC sharks. Pitch meetings in SF lofts. Equity offers ballooning. Phantom coders the future, they gushed. I unmasked selectively. Addison Hale. Ex-Apex. Now indie disruptor. Irony, delicious. But the twist coiled unseen. Elena's loyalty soured. Late-night call. Voice-edged. Victor's out on bail. Talking deals. Says you knew about the trials all along.
Knew?
I'd coded the firewalls. Rage flared another frame. I confronted her in a dim Ballard bar. Neon flickering like bad omens. You set me up again? Her denial crumbled under scrutiny. He promised more. Protection. For the baby. Baby? Ultrasound pic flashed. Hers. Victor's? The incestuous, not tightened. You're both monsters. Flight instinct kicked delete trails. Ghost contacts. But too late. Knock at dawn. Feds again. MS. Hale? New evidence. Your backdoor in Ethercore? It triggered a cascade. Implants malfunctioned. 3 subjects dead.
Dead.
My virus, meant to leak, not kill. Feedback overload. Frying circuits and brains. Nausea roiled. I'd crossed into villainy. Hands stained digital blood. Controversial?
Catastrophic.
Interrogation room. Cold coffee. Colder stares. Manslaughter.
Hale.
You played God. But Elena's testimony cracked it open. Her and Victor's plot. Pinning the deaths on me to bury the program. Twist. I wasn't the saboteur. I was the patsy. Again. Bail hearing loomed. A circus of media hounds. Victor's sneer from the gallery. Told you.
Kid.
Bears bite. But this bear? She'd grown claws. Bail granted, $2 million. Courtesy of VC backers smelling blood in the water. House arrest in a loaned Soho loft. Ankle monitor chafing like Victor's legacy. The news cycle feasted. Tech whistleblower or serial killer? Pundits dissected my descent, painting me as the jilted coder gone rogue. Sleepless nights blurred into days of legal marathons. Depositions where Elena's perjury unraveled like cheap thread, caught on tape. Haggling immunity for lies. The dead haunted me. Subject 14. A vet named Marco. Eyes vacant in leaked footage. Now forever still. My backdoor. Noble intent twisted by code glitches I'd overlooked in haste. Guilt gnawed. A cancer in the gut. But fury tempered it. Victor's design flaw. Elena's sabotage injecting the fatal variant. They weren't just thieves. They were butchers. And I'd been the knife. Trial prep was a pressure cooker. My lawyer. A shark named Rivera. Drilling alibis and timelines. We flipped the narrative. Addison. You're the hero who cracked the cabal.
Hero.
The word chafed. Heroes didn't wake screaming from wrecked dreams. Phantom brakes failing under rain-slicked tires. Victor's counterpunch landed mid-deposition. Leaked emails. Forged timestamps painting me as implant co-conspirator. Addison Hale, Apex's dark heart, screamed the headlines. Stock plummeted further. Class actions piling like lawsuits in a bad rom-com. Elena, testifying under duress, crumbled on cross. She knew. Pushed for trials.
Lies.
But the jury's eyes hardened, doubts poison. Crisis point. Controversial call. The nuclear option. I'd stashed a kill switch in Apex's core servers. Dead man's switch. Auto-triggering full disclosure if I went down. Activate. And every dirty secret flooded WikiLeaks. Trial vids unredacted. Offshore ledgers. Victor's emails to DC fixers. Global scandal. Apex bankrupt. Me radioactive. Or hold. Fight clean. Risk the fall. Rivera advised caution. Juries hate hackers. But as Victor's goons circled, drive-bys in unmarked cars, anonymous tips of accidents, caution felt like suicide. Late night. Monitor beeping like a bomb. I keyed the command. Floodgates opened. Terabytes dumping. Headlines exploding worldwide. Apex's mind control horror, implants, deaths, and a CEO's empire of lies. Pandemonium redux. Victor rearrested mid-golf swing. Elena vanishing to a non-extradition aisle. Bitch had a bug-out fund. The board scattered like roaches. Assets frozen. My trial? Vaporized in the deluge. DA dropped charges, citing overwhelming public interest. Vindication. Bitter as aloes. But the cash out?
Oh.
It crested like a silicon tsunami. Open ether, now untethered from Apex's stink, drew bids from ethical giants, Google's moonshot arm. A European consortium swearing transparency first. I inked the deal in a Manhattan war room, overlooking the Hudson's glitter. $250 million upfront. Royalties trailing like comet dust. More than Victor's wildest haul. His 9 figures dwarfed to pocket change. The check cleared on a crisp October morning. My 32nd birthday. Loft traded for a waterfront estate in Bainbridge. Irony's nod to Seattle roots. No more dives, now. Foundations for trial victims' families. Neural ethics think tanks. Elena surfaced months later. Extradited and broken. Pleading on Dateline specials. I was trapped. Traps are for rats. Victor? Life in Supermax. Appealing from a cell block library. Last I heard, he penned a memoir. Disrupted. A CEO's fall. Self-pity in hardcover. I sent a signed copy. Bears hibernate. Ghosts don't. Twist's echo lingered. In the wreckage, I glimpsed my own darkness. Vengeance's mirror. Reflecting a woman who'd kill to survive. Had the wreck been fate's warning? Or just bad luck reborn?
Didn't matter.
I stood on the deck. Sound whispering secrets. Wind carrying salt and second chances. Reborn. Richer. Remade. But the scars? They itched eternal. Reminders that in America's grind, winners bleed too. And if another death came calling, I'd rise again. Sharper. Hungrier. Unbreakable.